हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्णा
हरे
माता जी,
कृष्णा
दंडवत
प्रभु जी।
प्रणाम माता जी. Prema Kishori Mata ji is just joining us.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
हरे
Hare Krishna Mata ji, dंडवत प्रणाम माता जी.
Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna. Thank you for
हरे कृष्णा
coming.
माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
जी, हरे कृष्ण।
Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम.
Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna. So let's start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayaudirayet. नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, chapter 30, verse 45. We will do till verse number 47. All right, if anyone want to read, I'll keep moving the verses up. You can raise your hand, please, if you would like to read. Hare Krishna. Madhumay Krishna Kanta Mataji, go ahead.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ततो अग्निमारुतौ राजन् अमुञ्चन् मुखतो रुषा महीं निर्विरुद्धं कर्तुं संवर्तका इवात्यये। थैंक यू माता जी।
Thank you, Mataji. Chitra Mohini Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ततो अग्निमारुतौ राजन् अमुञ्चन् मुकतो रुषा महीं निर्विरुद्धं कर्तुं संवर्तका इवात्यये। हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, I'll have one more person recite this, and then the rest of you can keep your hand raised and then can read the subsequent verses. Surekha Mataji.
हरे कृष्णा माता जी। ततो अग्निर्मारुतौ राजन् अमुखन् मुखतो रुषा महिं निर्विरुद्धं कर्तुं संवर्तक इवात्यये। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you, Krishna. Tathaha, thereafter, Agni, fire, Maruto, and air, Rajan, O king, Amunchan, they emitted, Muktaha, from their mouths, Rusha, out of anger, Mahim, the earth, Nirviruddham, treeless, Kartum, to make, Samavartakaha, the fire of devastation, Iva, like, Atyaye, at the time of devastation. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Ki Jai. My dear king, at the time of devastation, Lord Shiva emits fire and air from his mouth out of anger. To make the surface of the earth completely treeless, the Prachetas also emitted fire and air from their mouths. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In this verse, Vidur is addressed as Rajan, which means O king. In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that Adhira never becomes angry because he is always situated in devotional service. Advanced devotees can control their senses, therefore a devotee can be addressed as Rajan. A king controls and rules in various ways among citizens. Similarly, one who can control his senses is the king of his senses. He is a Swami or Goswami. The Swamis and Goswamis are therefore sometimes addressed as Maharaj or King. Okay, verse number 46. Prafulla Mataji, go ahead, please.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। भस्मस्याति क्रियमाणं स्तन्द्रुमान् वीक्ष्य पितामह आगत समयामास पुत्रान् बहिष्मतो नये। हरे कृष्ण माता जी। थैंक यू।
Thank you. Bhashmashat kriyamana stan druman vikshaya pitamaha agataha samayam asha putran bharishmato nahi. Bhasmatat, into ashes, kriya manam, being made, tan, all of them, druman, the trees, vikshaya, seeing, pita maha, Lord Brahma Agataha came there. Samayam Ash pacified. Putran, the sons. Bharishmataha, O king of Bharishman, Nyayehe, by logic. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. After seeing that all the trees on the surface of the earth were being burnt, were being turned to ashes, Lord Brahma immediately came to the sons of King Bharishman and pacified them with words of logic. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. Whenever there is some uncommon occurrence on any planet, Lord Brahma, being in charge of the whole universe, immediately comes to control the situation. Lord Brahma also came when Hiranyakashipu underwent severe penances and austerities and made the whole universe tremble. A responsible man in any establishment is always alert to keep peace and harmony within the establishment. Similarly, Lord Brahma is also allowed to keep peace and harmony within this universe. He consequently pacified the sons of King Bharishman with good logic. Okay, one more verse. Who would like to read it? Verse number 47. Who has not read the
Hare
verse
Krishna
yet?
Mataji.
Anybody who is not read yet would like to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji, may I read?
Go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna everybody, Danvat Pranam. Tatra vasista ye viksha bhita
Mataji, your voice is not coming. Chitramohini Mataji, go ahead, please. Ayushi Mataji, please fix your voice. It's not coming.
Mataji, can I read Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Chitramohini Mataji, whoever's hands are raised, they'll get the chance.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Tatra
Thank you.
vashishta ye ruksha vita duhitaram tada ujjahuste prachotobhya upadishtam swayam bhuva. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you. Lakshmi Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी तत्र वसिष्ठ ये वृक्षा भीता दुहितरं तदा उज्जावृस्ते प्रचेतोभ्य उपदिष्टा स्वयंभुवा. Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Surya
Krishna.
Prakash Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranams. Tatra vasista ye vruksha bhita duhitaram tada huste cheto prachodabhya upadishtaha swayam bhuva. Hare Krishna
Thank
Mataji.
you. Hare Krishna. Madhumai Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण तत्र अवशिष्टाः ये वृक्षा भीता दुहितरं तथा उच्चवृस्ते प्रचेतोभ्य उपदिष्टाः स्वयंभुवाः. हरे
Thank
कृष्ण.
you. Neena Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Tatra vashishta ye vruksha bhita duhitaram tada ujjahuste prachetobhya upadishta swayambhuva. Hare.
Thank you. Sujata Mataji.
तत्र
Sujata.
वसिष्ठा ये वृक्षा भीता दुहितरं वा तदा उच्चारुस्ते प्रचेतोभ्या उपातिष्ठा स्वयंभुवः.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. P. Pushpam Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी तत्र वसिष्ठा ये वृक्षा बीटा दुहितरं तदा उज्जस्ते प्रचोदप्या उपदिष्टा स्वयंभुवा. हरे कृष्ण
Thank
माताजी.
you, Krishna. Sujata Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी तत्र वशिष्ठा ये वृक्षा भीता दुहितरं तदा उज्जाहृस्ते प्रचेतोभ्य उपदिष्टा स्वयंभुवा.
Thank you. All right, I'll proceed now. Thank you. Tatra, there, avashishtaha, remaining, ye, which, vriksha, trees, bhitaha, being afraid, duhitaram, their daughter, tada, at that time, ujahru, delivered, they, prachetobhya, onto the prachetas, upadishtha, being advised, swayambhuva, by Lord Brahma. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The remaining trees, being very much afraid of the Prachetas, immediately delivered their daughter at the advice of Lord Brahma. Purport by Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. The daughter of the trees is referred to in text 13 of this chapter. This daughter was born of Kandu and Pramalocha. The society girl Pramalocha, after giving birth to the child, immediately left for the heavenly kingdom. While the child was crying, the king of the moon took compassion upon her and saved her by putting his finger into her mouth. This child was cared for by the trees, and when she grew up, by the order of Lord Brahma, she was delivered to Prachetas as their wife. The name of the girl was Marisha, as the next verses will explain. It was the predominating deity of the trees that delivered the daughter. In this connection, Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada states, Vriksha tad adhishtara devataha. The trees meaning the controlling deities of those trees. In Vedic literatures, we find that there is a controlling deity of the water. Similarly, there is a controlling deity of the trees. The Prachetas were engaged in burning all the trees to ashes, and they considered the trees their enemies. To pacify the Prachetas, the predominating deity of the trees, under the advice of Lord Brahma, delivered the daughter, Marishaha. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanjalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namastite. Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanuste Devi Pranamami Hari Priyai. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paschatya Deshatarine. All right, let's read the verses again. 45, 46, and 47. Hare Krishna. My dear king, at the time of devastation, Lord Shiva emits fire and air from his mouth out of anger to make the surface of the earth completely treeless. The Prachetas also emitted fire and air from their mouths. After seeing that all the trees on the surface of the earth were being turned to ashes, Lord Brahma immediately came to the sons of King Parishman and pacified them with words of logic. The remaining trees, being very much afraid of the Prachetas, immediately delivered their daughter at the advice of Lord Brahma. So we're reading from 4th canto, Creation of the Fourth Order, 30th chapter, which is entitled as
The activities of Prachetas.
Activities of Prachetas. Thank you very much. And we are at the last part of the chapter, where who's speaking these verses? Who's speaking these verses?
Maitreya Rishi.
Maitreya is speaking to who? Vidura. Very nice. So Krishna has already sanctioned that whatever Prachetas asked for benediction, may it all come true. And then what did he do? Then what did Krishna do after he sanctioned? What did he do? What quality of Krishna is glorified?
Vairagya.
He disappeared.
Vairagya.
He disappeared. So he disappeared. Although he is very attached to his devotees, he still disappeared, which is a very deep quality to learn. We transmigrate in this material world because we are attached. This attachment can be so detrimental to one's existence in the spiritual world. So to become attached in the material world is detrimental to constitutional position. Unless until the attachment is transferred to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Krishna remains detached in all situations. And then in these verses, further activities of Prachetas is described or are described that they are burning the trees to ashes. What made them burn the trees to ashes? What made them burn the trees to ashes?
The entire earth was covered with trees, which were so high that the way to higher planets was as if it was forbidden.
It was blocked.
There is no productive
Obstructed.
activity on the air.
And
So they
productive
said,
activity.
yeah,
No
that's why they.
agricultural activity, very nice. So imagine how tall the trees were, like taller than the mountains. And just simply by the potency of the austerities, they were able to burn them to ashes. So that, why were they burning them to ashes? So that what can happen? So that
Agriculture can happen.
Agriculture, they want to convert
yes,
into
agriculture and the development,
farm
housing too,
development.
right? Yes, so agricultural crop fields and the housing fields can come up. So this is also a service to Krishna. It's not that they were under the control of the anger. They were angry, they were exhibiting the quality of anger, but the anger was completely in control of the prachetas. That is why Prabhupada is explaining Swami or Goswami, right? Remember, verse number 45, Prabhupada is saying that anybody who can control his senses is called as a Swami. So Vidur is addressed as Rajan. So it's not that, don't be mistaken, that they got so angry that they actually became overpowered by the anger and they were just left, right, emitting fire and air from their mouth to burn the trees. No, the anger was exhibited. See, there's a difference between exhibiting the anger and coming in control of the anger. Coming in control of the anger is arising from the modes of nature. Which verse in Bhagavad Gita describes that? Second chapter.
क्रोधोद् भवति सम्मोहः
Go to the beginning. Yes, krodhat bhavati
Dhyayato
sammoha. Dhyayata vishyan punsaha.
पुंसाः
Very nice.
संगस्तेषु उपजायते संघात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधो विजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिर्भंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति.
Pranashati. Thank you. Okay, so that way, that krodha is because of the dhyate vishyana punsaha. Dhyate vishyana punsaha means dhyate means dhyan, means thinking. Vishyan punsaha, vishaya means object of sense gratification. Punsaha, attachment. Just by thinking of the object of sense gratification, one develops attachment to it. Sangasta sanjayate kama. From attachment comes lust. Which is lust? That I will enjoy without Krishna. This is for my enjoyment. I'm the enjoyer. That's lust. Sangasta sanjayate kama krodha vijayate. So because the lust is never satisfied, can never be satisfied because we can never become the enjoyer. That leads to the quality of anger. Krodhat bhavati samoha. And that krodha is from the mode of passion. So that's not what is happening here. To be very, very clear. This is an exhibition of anger in devotional service to Krishna. That the land is supposed to be we are supposed to have crop field, we're supposed to have place to live. But not so wild trees and on the surface of the earth. That's not going to help anybody. So it was like, okay, the earth is supposed to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but this is not happening. The trees are supposed to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but this is not happening. You see, for a pure devotee, there is no difference between the material world and spiritual world. Right? What does Krishna says? Dvanda nirmukta. 7th chapter, he says somewhere. The 5th chapter, when he is explaining Bhagavad Gita, the qualities of a devotee, he says Dvanda nirmukta. What is it? Is it verse number 5 and 5:9 or 5:10? He says Evam Bhashya Padma Bhashya Evam Bhaset. Is it Dvanda nirmukta?
Dvandva nirmukta.
What verse is that? So Dvanda nirmukta. So it's away from the dualities of the material modes of nature.
It's 7.26 is also there, Mataji. 7.26, 27. And then
7.26, 27. Okay, let me go there. So, okay, that's the word dvanda is used, dvanda nirmukta. Mataji, I don't know who said that. So
yes, Mataji, I'll just tell you.
Here, okay, it is 127. Dvanda mohena bharata. Ichha dvesha samuthena dvanda mohena bharata. Sarvabhutani sammoha sargayanti parantapa. Yes. So above the dualities. So why did we bring it up? Because the prachetas are not in the duality of who is the enjoyer, or I am the enjoyer and trees and plants cannot be the enjoyer. So I am supposed to enjoy the surface of the earth and not the trees and plants. That's not where the anger is coming from. The anger is coming from the platform of devotional service, that everyone is supposed to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For a pure devotee, there is no difference between the material world and spiritual world, because everything is a spiritual world for pure devotee. In the sense, in spiritual world, everything is engaged in serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they see everywhere that everything here should also be engaged in serving Krishna. Why trees are not serving Krishna? Why water is not serving Krishna? Why earth is not serving Krishna? Remember, we saw Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj was leveling the surface of the earth because it was rocky everywhere, and people cannot stay. If they don't have a house to stay, then how will their mind become peaceful? We cannot bypass our material existence and come to a spiritual existence. Then Varnashrama system has no value. They're very grounded. These devotees are very grounded. I am so filled with appreciation for each one of them, that this anger is exhibited out of service to Krishna. So this is how we can learn to actually project or exhibit our feelings in service to Krishna. And then we call a Swami. It's very difficult without devotional service, without the mercy of acharyas, the mercy of the devotees of Krishna, mercy of Krishna. It cannot happen. But that's the stage we have to aim for, if that ever happens in this life. And it may happen, or it will happen if I'm sincere. Okay, so Brahma saw all that, and Brahma now he's going to solve the problem by logic, words of logic. That's not devotional service, words of logic. That okay, in constitutional sense, you're right that everything is supposed to serve Krishna, but this can be solved in a better way. Why don't you marry the girl, the daughter of the trees, and then she will help you to actually fulfill the prophecy of your father, and also the benediction that Krishna gave you, that you will have a son who will be more powerful than the sun god, and he'll bring fame to all your being, right? This was the benediction given by Krishna. So do that. Okay, that's like words of logic. Because they're already pure devotees, you cannot refute the action of a pure devotee by giving evidence from the Shastras, because they're not angry per se. They're exhibiting the anger. They're not under the control of the anger. Okay, now Brahma has to do his duty, and Prachetas also welcome him in that way. See, the relationship is so nice. The boundaries are well defined. The position is well defined. Even though they are pure devotees, they still welcome Brahma because they are situated in the material world. They are on the surface of the earth, where Brahma is the chieftain. He is the chief captain of this particular place. So very nice behavior, conduct, etiquette, devotional service, everything is so nicely exhibited by these exalted devotees everywhere. So Brahma is showing responsibility and coming to pacify the situation and trying to show that how this situation can also be used in service to Krishna. Okay, so he uses the logic. Then Brahma advises the daughter, the chief of the trees, to give their daughter, which is Marisha, which we learned earlier in the chapter, was actually the daughter of sage Kandu and the society girl Pramalocha. And Pramalocha left after she broke Kandu's meditation, and the daughter was taken compassion on by moon god, and then she was raised by the trees. And Krishna gave this permission, right? Marry that daughter because she was equal in quality to the Prachetas. And then Prabhupada explains, generally one woman is supposed to have one husband, but there are women who are qualified to have more than one husband. Like, this qualification does not exist in the material world in Kali Yuga, so we cannot compare it. Even Draupadi, I was hearing Prabhupada lecture yesterday. Prabhupada was explaining that Draupadi, so the Swayamvar ceremony that Draupadi's father, Drupad, had organized was not done for all the women. Prabhupada was explaining. It was done only for the girls who were qualified to choose their husband. And that too under very strict circumstances. Like the circumstance under which Draupadi had to do the Swayamvar was her father had put a condition that somebody who will shoot an arrow in the eye of the fish, right? Looking at the reflection of the fish in the water. So very, very qualified person. But she also knew how to choose the husband. We don't know, neither do we train our children. So that is why the situation is very precarious and is based on the stimulation of the senses. I was reading this 2 days ago, that the conditioned soul is just looking for stimulation of the senses. Somehow or other, if somebody looks nice to the eyes, has a nice voice, or has, I don't know, so those are superficial qualities. And if we are attracted to the superficial qualities, then our life will be superficial. Okay, what the real qualities are, Krishna talks about so many times in Bhagavad Gita, the real qualities of a devotee. But the problem is I'm not a devotee, so I cannot really like figure out who the devotee is. That's why we have to be very careful that who do we make our relationships with. Otherwise, a lot of time is wasted. But Kali Yuga is so strong, this will only get worse and worse. Anyhow, coming back to the main topic here, that the trees gave their daughter Marisha to the boys, and the reason was A, to fulfill the prophecy of Krishna, B, to have prachetas, to stop them from burning the trees on the surface of the earth by their anger, to pacify them. Okay, so learn that the prachetas are exhibiting the anger, they're not under the control of the anger. Also learn that the pure devotees are always seeing everything in relation to Krishna. So there is no difference between material world and spiritual world for such a person. I am not a pure devotee, so there is a difference for me. But a pure devotee has no difference in their vision because they are free from the dualities. But those devotees are Tattvadarshi, right? Tattvadarshi, they're not under the dualities. Their darshan of the world is not based on their perception by their mental speculation, but is based on the vision of the Shastras, vision of the previous acharyas. That's how they base their vision. Understand that Brahma is allowed to pacify the situation because of his position in the material world, and also understand that Brahma was welcomed by the prachetas. We can argue that Brahma is not a pure devotee, but so how come prachetas are accepting his advice? Because in Varnashram system, everything is well defined, the boundaries are defined, the roles are defined, and everyone acts like that. We can say that Lord Ram is like pure, is God. Then was he under any kind of obligation to fulfill the order of his so-called father or so-called mother? No, he's not. But he still was exhibiting and setting an example, so he did that. Okay, so the main key for me in this verses was the anger. So next time you get angry or I get angry, and understand, is it coming from mode of passion or is it coming from service to Krishna? Where is that coming from? Okay. Questions, reflections, realizations, corrections. I don't know.